Hello everyone, how are you doing? Today I will be explaining Netiquette. What is Netiquette? Netiquette consists of the guidelines for communicating through the internet and having a proper conversation. It is basically common sense rules necessary to have a productive communication with other people through the internet. The first one of these rules is to always remember the human. There is someone on the other side of the screen. It doesn't matter that you can't hear their voice or see their face. It is a person with their own dreams, their own goals, their own problems that they are facing right now. And keeping that in mind helps you be more polite and thoughtful to others. The second one is that you should adhere to the standards of behavior that you would in real life. For example, if you are communicating to someone, you don't have to be rude just because you're on the internet. You don't have permission to do that. You must be as polite as if you were speaking face to face, because at the end of the day, that is like rule number one says, that is a person. The third one is to know where you are in cyberspace. Just because you're on the internet doesn't mean that every place in there is the same, that every website, that every person you're communicating with is the same. You would not be speaking to a family member through private messaging as you would be speaking through social media, or like you would be speaking to your boss in an email. Each context deserves a different way of speaking, a different way of referring to other people, and different levels of familiarity that you must use. The fourth one is to respect others' time and bandwidth. This means that not everyone has a lot of free time, not everyone has time to read a wall of text or listen to a very long audio. So you must always keep that in mind and try to be as concise as possible. As for bandwidth, it means that you must be conscious of the fact that people might not simply have enough space in their computer to download a heavy document you share with them, or they might have too slow an internet to be able to handle all the WhatsApp stickers or images that you're sending. The fifth one is to make yourself look good online. This isn't just about having good spelling or being able to write well or having nice profile pictures, although those do help. The important thing is to be polite and to make a good impression on other people through the way you are, the way you speak with them. The sixth one is that you must share expert knowledge. Now, the internet is a very useful tool for sharing information and communicating with other people, and you can share all sorts of useful information with them. However, you must also remember that the information that you share must be trustworthy and true. You want to provide good sources, trustworthy sources, when providing information to other people. The more sensitive the information, the more trustworthy your source should be. The seventh one is to keep flame wars under control. Flame wars occur when people give very passionate arguments that are all emotion and aren't really productive. This usually leads to heated conversations in which people might get mean or sarcastic. Those are called flame wars. Everyone should try to reduce them and to keep them down, to put out the flames as best as they can, to have a nice and productive conversation. The eighth one is to respect other people's privacy. Sometimes things get shared online that the other person might not be aware of, or you might have the opportunity to find out things that the other person wouldn't like you to. The proper thing to do is to not access that information, to not dig into a person's private life through the internet, because everyone has a right to privacy, and it's generally hurtful to other people to obtain that information and even worse, to share it. The ninth one is to not abuse your power. This isn't just about being in a position of direct power like a moderator in a site or a group. It's also about having more knowledge about using technology than the other person. This power doesn't give you a right to abuse it or to use it against other people. It's actually the opposite, in fact. As someone who has a knowledge or a position that other people don't, it should be your responsibility to use them to help others and let them have a good experience online. The 10th and final one is to be forgiving of other people's mistakes. Like it was said in the last one, some people might not have all the experience speaking online, they might not be able to spell all that well, but that doesn't mean that you should be mean or impatient or rude to them because of that. It means that you should be patient with them as people, because everyone makes mistakes and everyone has things that they don't do all that well or know all that much about. These have been the basic guidelines of Netiquette. Now, on a different subject. People have been very stressed with the COVID-19 crisis, and so I would like to share some useful tips to protect yourself from the virus. The first one is to wash your hands properly with soap to kill the virus in the skin. That is done not by simply throwing water on your hands and some soap, but by being thorough. Use the inside between your fingers, the tips, top of your hands, wrists as well. Keep everything clean and sanitary to avoid catching the virus. Now, the second one, social distancing. This means, whenever possible, staying at least 1 meter away from other people. That way, if someone coughs or speaks or sneezes, the bits of saliva that carry the virus cannot reach the other person. It is a way to avoid contagion between two people while being able to converse and interact. The third one is to cough and sneeze on a bent elbow. This means that when one coughs or sneezes, they must not do it in their hands because if someone coughs into their hands, they're putting out all the particles and droplets of saliva and virus into their hands, which then they use to touch everything, be it their own faces, be it their phones or keyboards or anything really. That means that it is better to find someplace else to cough in. The place the World Health Organization recommends is the inside of the elbow, as that does not touch many things. So when one feels the need to cough or sneeze, just put your arm like this and do it. Now, everyone, I know that you're stressed and maybe a bit scared, but please take care and stay at home, and I'm sure everything will turn out alright. Thank you.